welcome back to another episode of the Red Card Report podcast. We've got an interesting topic to talk about. Mauro Icardi and Inter Milan.
Yeah.
Joe, don't you love Inter?
Oh, I love Inter so much, dude. They're like my favorite team.
I hope you save that.
Yeah, I'm going to clip that and we'll use that at some
clip
point.
Clip it, save it, use it
That
against
should be just
me.
like, when on the
blackmail.
On the IG post.
Oh, yeah. Everywhere.
That's it. No, that's
Instagram.
all you need to do to promote it. That's quick 2 seconds. I love Inter by Joe Capuano.
It'll just, you're going to put it on a loop. I already know this. No, but there's what's happening?
Well, okay, so actually, I don't even know what the hell's happening because I don't really give a shit about Inter Milan. so
that's
I'm passing this one off to you guys.
That's totally
so
fair.
I have a couple of questions, but I am not too familiar with this story in particular. I know that it's a big story in Serie A right now. I know it's causing a lot of drama for Inter and the club and all that. But yeah, I'll pass it on to you, Joe and Rui. Give us some background on it. And
all right. You know what? I feel like with any good story, you have to start at the very beginning. So let's start when little baby Mauro was born in Rosario, Argentina. Don't worry, this will be fast. It explains a lot. Okay, so he was born in Rosario, Argentina.
Get there quick, Joe.
I will. Don't worry. Hear me out.
I like the History Channel theme we have going on here.
Listen. He moved to the Canary Islands, which are Spanish, when he was 9. Scored a boatload of goals for their youth team, one of their youth teams there. Got picked up by Barcelona when he was very young. Joined their youth academy, scored a bunch of goals there too, but they put him out on loan because, rumor has it, he had a very bad attitude and he wasn't getting along with all the other kids. So he gets shipped off and he goes to Sampdoria, okay? Scores a bunch of goals there too. Shows a lot of promise, okay? Inter buys him. Big money transfer. He does what any striker does, and he scores even more goals. He turns out to be one of the best goal scorers that Inter has ever had. Fast forward to 2016, okay? He writes a biography about his life, how he came to be a professional footballer, called Always Forward, Sempre Avanti. And in this book, he had a particular passage that definitely pissed off the Inter fans because he said, I'm paraphrasing this, he said, if I don't get my way, I'll have my friends, the Ultras from Argentina, come up here and kick all the Inter Ultras' ass. He said some say that he said kill, some say beat up, but that chapter got omitted from the biography.
Is there even a difference between kill and beating up when it comes to Argentinian ultras?
No, because there is no middle ground. You're either you're dead.
You guys know firsthand now.
Yeah, right.
Oh yeah. It's a war.
We'll definitely have to have an episode on that. Anyway, so he does that, but on top of all of this, this guy has the balls to go after the wife of one of his teammates, Maxi Lopez, who had 2 children with this woman. Okay? 2 children. Their marriage fell apart. I'm talking about Maxi Lopez and Wanda's marriage. Fell apart. They were on the outs. And then this guy swoops in and marries her. Right? Basically in front of Maxi Lopez.
And that's his current wife?
And that is his current
Wanda
wife
Nara.
It's
agent.
funny, in the book, he mentions that he was hailed as some sort of, he did the right thing, confronting the ultras in a game, in a game that they lost. In his book, they lost to Sassuolo 3-1.
Sure.
And one of the Inter ultras confronted him, and they said whatever in exchange, but Mauro Icardi went up to him and said something to him, and that really triggered all the ultras to be against them.
Yeah.
And then he puts in his book that he was hailed as some kind of,
hero.
Hero, yeah.
Yeah. This guy has a track record of being a quote unquote bad boy, just being, hard to deal with. But when you make your wife your manager or your agent, it makes things that much more personal and that much more difficult, which is the situation that they're in now. Why I gave that whole biography is that it kind of leads up to this point where Mauro Icardi is, for better or worse, on the verge of potentially leaving Inter, that's just how I'm looking at it. They're not offering him a new contract, which is how all of this started. He basically faked an injury recently, so that way he didn't have to play in the Europa League with Inter. He omitted himself from the team. He got stripped of the captain's armband, which he has held for the past 2 or 3 seasons. And this is all because his wife / agent is trying to fight for him to get a new deal that he gets paid more.
Yeah, I can understand that, but he signed a contract just a few years ago that's going to expire in 2021.
Right.
It's still a couple seasons away.
Years.
Like, I get it.
So he just wants to renegotiate a new contract for bigger money.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Which I understand. You want to stay with the club for a long time. Fine. But how he's going about it is just completely wrong. You're the captain of this team. And if this is a club that you, quote unquote, love so much and want to spend the rest of your career here, you have to show some transparency and decency back to the club. You have to show the type of leader that you are. You're wearing an honorable armband. Like, Inter Milan is one of the most historic clubs in the history of football. And you're treating this as if it's, I don't know, you're putting yourself, your wants, your desires over your jersey and over that armband. And what kind of example are you going to show to all the younger players? And he's pretty young for a captain. He's been the captain since he was 22 or 23 years old. He's been there for quite a while wearing that armband. And what kind of example are you showing to the younger crowd, to the younger players? How can players look up to you when you're putting your wants ahead of the team? Inter Milan, just like AC Milan, they've been struggling the last 5-6 years, and they're trying to get back on top. And if you love this club so much, you will do anything to get them back consistently in the Champions League, and you want to push further and further and make the Scudetto even more competitive. Test Juventus the following season. And he's not, I don't believe he's about that. He's clearly about money. And I think Inter deserve more than that. They deserve someone that wants to be there. And obviously, don't get me wrong, Icardi's a fantastic player. He scored more than 20 goals in 3 of the last 4 seasons in Serie A. Mm-hmm. He led the league last year. He tied with Ciro Immobile with like 28 or 29 goals or whatever it was. Serie A player of the year. Fantastic. Yeah, he deserves a good pay. But you know what? That has to wait until the time is right. His contract doesn't expire for another 2.5 years.
I think that's, and don't think I'm defending Icardi in this, but I feel like that's around the time when players do sign new contracts, is around the 2-year mark when their contract is about to expire 2 years. Don't ask me why. That's just generally like,
I think it comes within the 2-year mark.
Yeah.
So I'm saying that's an issue for next season, because by the time it's January of 2021, Inter's in big trouble if the contract's is not made, an agreement's not made, because he can go out and sign on a free with another club.
Not even that. He has a release clause. His release clause is big. It's like between 100 and 120 million euros. So any club could theoretically just pay that fee and he would be a part of that club. But now that there's this whole contract negotiation issue, I feel like there are a lot of clubs waiting in the wings looking to see, can we knock that price down, give him a better contract, with higher wages. and
just minimize that transfer fee.
exactly.
And his value is going to drop. He's not worth right now. He's not worth 110. In obviously his attitude and his history of these incidents, these occurrences, they're just not. They're not worth it for a big club. A club like Real Madrid, they don't want problems like this.
Mm-hmm.
A team like Chelsea, that's Chelsea. This is the last thing that they need right now. Of course, they would love they would love a talent like Mauro Icardi, but they don't want the baggage that comes along with it. And to be stuck with it with him for years and years, if they offer him a 4, 5, 6-year contract, that's something that they're going to have to deal with for a very, very long time. And we see what Icardi has been throughout his Inter career. It's almost every single year that goes by, there's an incident.
Yeah. Or, he's unhappy, and then Wanda tries to negotiate with the Inter board, and it goes back and forth. They're like, she posts things on Twitter and Instagram, I remember there was one one time in the summer where I was just scrolling through Twitter, and Wanda Nara came up, and she had posted a picture of a zebra. Everyone knows what that means. That means she was with, yeah, funny, good one. She and Mauro were on vacation, on a safari, and they were like, "Oh, zebra, haha." I wonder what that could mean. She was goading Inter to try and give him a better contract, threatening that they'll go to Juventus. And those are the kinds of antics that Wanda has been pulling.
And it's not just
everywhere.
that either. It was shortly after he restructured his contract back in 2016. It was in October.
They're already trying. Yep. Okay.
In January, she was already throwing out statements saying, "Oh, Mauro's getting offers from teams in China."
Yeah.
And what do teams in China do?
Pay a lot of money. A lot of money.
That's absurd. That's 3-4 months after signing a new contract.
Right.
She was flirting with wages.
I mean, granted, that's what agents are supposed to do, but I feel like she is extremely pushy when it comes to these issues. You know what I'm saying? Agents do this stuff.
From an outsider's perspective, it seems like it's too much. I understand you're an agent. You have a job to do, but you don't see other agents doing these kinds of things with their clients.
At least not as much.
Right. Not as much, not to this extent. Yeah. I don't know. I could be wrong. I don't know if there's another agent out there who would have done something like that.
Mino
Raiola.
Yeah.
Mino Raiola is the king of doing this.
Raiola is the one that would tell his clients what to say.
Yeah.
Like what he did with Paul Pogba at Man United throughout the whole Jose Mourinho thing. A lot of the garbage that Pogba was saying was obviously fed by Mino Raiola, because Mino Raiola was also flirting around saying that Paul Pogba was going to be on his way out, and that Pogba shouldn't and doesn't want to play for Manchester United any longer. Now he's there. He got what he wanted. Mourinho's out, and he's playing better. Things like that.
Yeah.
Mino's the only one that comes to my mind.
Who has those sorts of tactics? But Cristiano Ronaldo's agents doesn't do that at all, because he doesn't have to.
George Men's, no, absolutely not. But even then, Mino, I don't think he's the type of guy that's just going to go out into the media and just start demanding this, and that.
Yeah, I think it's also because Wanda hosts a TV show called Tiki-Taka in Italy, based in Milan, and actually, it was kind of funny. There was a recent break in this whole case where she started crying on the air because of this whole situation with Mauro's contract not getting resolved. People were actually throwing rocks at her car because her she had her kids and they were trying to drive places.
I did hear about that.
Her son had a football match, and she was driving him to the game, and on the way there, Inter fans were throwing rocks at her car, and at that point, that's just absolutely disgusting to do when you have a kid in the car, let alone just throwing rocks at a car, intending to hurt someone, regardless if they're 100% wrong or semi-wrong or even right. It doesn't matter. You just don't act that way because you can really hurt someone. And on top of that, there's an innocent kid. It's just a little kid
in the car
who has nothing to do with any of this, shouldn't pay for any of the prices that, quote unquote, like the wrongdoings that the parents potentially could have done. They shouldn't be held responsible or put at risk or anything like that.
Yeah, right.
So I found that absolutely disgusting
Mm-hmm.
that they did that. And I totally understand that it's a scary situation. And she was crying when she vented out.
Did you know who called in?
Yeah.
Yep. The
Do you think
director manager.
that had to be staged?
You know, I wonder sometimes. I really do. It could have been entirely staged, but I don't know. All I know is that Inter's director general Beppe Marotta called in and was like, "Oh, I hate to see you crying. I don't like being this way. We'll work out a new contract. You just need to be patient." And then she stopped crying. I have a feeling that this is just papering over the cracks.
Yeah.
We have a lot to see.
No, I'm going to be paraphrasing this, but he more or less said that, well, we're going to offer him a contract.
Didn't
he's
say
either
what.
going to accept it or he's not going to accept it.
Yeah.
You know?
That's a good way of looking at it, actually. Yeah.
And that's what it is. And that's how Marotta has always been. Mm-hmm. He's just always been that straight shooter. And usually most of the times it's prevailed on his part because he's always had that manner, that way to persuade people to stay, you know. And there's a project at Inter. I don't know what it is, but it's there because you know what, Morata's there.
Yeah.
And they have a bunch of young players around, and there's a project there. And I think Inter is somewhat on the right track. And on top of that, if they can manage to straighten out Icardi and get him to stay, Inter does have a promising future, and I'm sure Icardi knows that.
Yeah, but what are the chances of him straightening out? I mean, he's shown no signs of that up until this point in his career.
Well, you know, there's been players that have changed their ways.
Wouldn't you want to just dump Icardi and use that money and grab someone else?
Me personally, I would want him to stay so Inter can just have problems forever. That's a personal thing, but theoretically. No, yeah, you're absolutely right. I wouldn't want, all jokes aside, I wouldn't want a player like that on my team. And it's also not good. It's not good for the league. It's not good for Inter. They deserve, like I said before, they deserve so much better. When you look at all the captains, the previous captains, Javier Zanetti, even Materazzi were the captains band. Eto'o wore the captain's band a few times.
Yeah, he did, didn't he?
You know, these are like club legends, and fantastic players. And you have Icardi wearing that captain's band, but every single year there's an issue. Every single year he has to put himself ahead of the team.
I could be thinking of something else. Did he get stripped of his captain's band, or was that?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, he did.
He did.
Oh, okay.
He did.
Yeah, they gave it to Handanovic, which actually
should have been the captain a long time ago.
The one thing that set all of this in motion, or how he found out about it, was he was looking through Twitter, and he saw Inter had tweeted Handanovic will be the captain for the upcoming match. And it didn't say anything about stripping Icardi. It just said Handanovic was going to be captain. We all knew what that meant. But Inter didn't have the cojones to tell Icardi himself, "Oh, you're not captain anymore." They had to do it through a tweet. So this whole situation from start to finish, I mean, it's not even done yet. We still don't know what's going to happen. But it seems to be on the mend, I think. It has been handled very poorly on both sides. Wanda and Inter are both butting heads. Icardi is just like caught in all of this. And you know who has been making out like a bandit is Lautaro Martinez, who's been getting more minutes since Icardi's been gone. And, you know, he's been doing really well, scoring goals and, you know, having a good time.
With Icardi being absent and during this time, how will Martinez do filling his shoes, and how will Inter perform during Icardi's absence?
So they are two different players who occupy the same space. They're both strikers. Icardi is the kind of player who could take 6 touches in a game and one of them will be a goal. Like that's all he needs to
He's a
score
great
a goal.
in the box player. Where I believe Lautaro is more creative and a better out of the box. And by out of the box, I mean obviously the 18-yard box.
Yep, I was about to say that. Yeah,
He's very, very, very good. Yeah, he's more dynamic. Icardi's just a pure number 9. He's incredible in the air. He's great inside the box. He's a poacher, and you know what? He can control the ball very well. He can create opportunities, create shots, passes. You know, he's a threat, and on top of that, he's a workhorse. He's also a very, very big threat to the defense when they're controlling the ball. I believe it was Chiellini that said the most difficult or the most annoying person that he has to deal with, or someone that he has to always be alert, is Icardi, because Icardi just doesn't stop. He can be in one place and then the other in no time. He has great anticipation. He has great positioning skills. He just knows where to be. He has that instinct of where the ball is going to end up. And it's very difficult for any defender to keep up with that.
Yep. And difficult for goalkeepers to
But on top of that,
anticipate
Lautaro is just an incredible potential. And I think he can be a very, very good striker. And I can see Inter just kissing Icardi goodbye and just relying on Lautaro, because he's actually been playing very well this season. He's the one that scored against Napoli, the game winner against Napoli in the last few minutes. He came up huge coming off the bench. He showed that in his first season that doesn't matter what occasion, what instance that they're in, what circumstance that they're in, he can rise to the occasion and perform.
Yep. You took the words out of my mouth. Like I said, two not similar players. They both occupy the same spot, different styles. But I guess the real question is, do they sell Icardi at the end of the season? I don't think so. I think that they're going to hold on to him. I think that they'll probably end up.
Are you
giving
saying
him
what you'd want them to do, or what you think they're going to do?
I'm saying what I think that they're going to do. I think that they're going to keep Icardi. I think the relationship is still good enough where Icardi will get the contract that he wants and he'll be happy
for 6 months.
Yeah, for 6 months, and then there'll be another issue at some point. But that's just the way Inter is. There's a reason why they call them Pazze Inter, crazy Inter. It's just there's always some sort of drama.
What do you think of Spalletti in this whole entire situation?
Spalletti has been handling it like any other coach, I think, would. He's taking it in stride. I think that it was, I'm trying to remember which game it was, but he said that, it would have been nice if Icardi came down and, visited the locker room.
Sampdoria.
I think you're right. It was Sampdoria.
He was in the stands.
Mm-hmm. He was in the stands, and he was like, it was nice that he showed up, but I wish that he would have been in the locker room
to celebrate.
But then he quickly went on to the next topic. So I think he's handling it relatively well.
I think so too.
Could it be better? I don't know how, because I've never been in a situation like that before.
Well,
so
it could be worse because he's been in a situation similar to this when he was at Roma.
Right.
And you know who he sent home at practice?
Mm-hmm.
Francesco Totti, the club legend. And
a lot of parallels.
And even today, most recently, Spalletti admitted that he was a little harsh, and he felt that he divided the club at the time more than he united it when it needed it most. And he felt that decision may have been a little harsh. He's not saying that he was wrong. He probably wasn't wrong, but the way he went about it was harsh, a little extreme. And I think he's learned from it. And in this situation, he's focusing on the team because this is a disturbance, a huge locker room issue, and this can ruin the chemistry of a team.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
this can ruin the season that Inter's having. It's been a pretty good ride so far. They're in 3rd place, 4 points ahead of AC Milan, who's in 4th place. So it's a pretty good position to be in, and this can come tumbling down. But seeing Spalletti kind of keeping his cool, and after the games after the games in the press conferences, he's telling the reporters, I want to talk about the players that played today.
Yeah.
I don't want to talk about Icardi. I don't want to talk about anything outside of what happened in this game today.
Yeah.
And I got to credit. We have to credit him.
Yeah, you have
credit
to.
him
You have
for
to
that.
give him credit.
This is a really difficult situation to be in as a manager. You know, your captain,
a top player,
your star player, is acting the way he's been acting, putting himself ahead of the team. When he comes back, are you going to give him the captain's band again?
No, he'll probably have to. I'm sure he'll have to earn that one.
I think Icardi has to be a champion first before he can wear that armband. He's still 26 years old.
Yeah. Young.
You know, he lost it.
Would they just give it to him though, just to shut his mouth? And
that's what he wants. Oh,
right.
that's what he wants.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Right. So like
that's part of the. I bet you that'd be part of the contract.
Again, I think so. If I was management, or whatever, I would say no. Screw this guy. I'm not giving him the captain's band.
I don't think.
But I'm wondering from their perspective, do they look at the situation and it's like, okay, we don't want to give him the band, but let's just try to diffuse the situation, focus on the rest of the season, give this little kid his armband, you know what I mean, and move on.
You know, but it's like,
if anything, they'll give him more money.
Yeah, I don't know. That armband just.
Yeah,
it means a lot. That means a lot to wear the armband for Milan, Inter Milan, Juventus. It's not something to treat as if it's, you know, a toy. It's not a toy. You're going to go down in history as the captain of your team, you know, and that means a lot. And the way you go about it, people are going to remember how you went about as being a team, as a player of this team.
Icardi's becoming more famous or infamous for his off-field antics than for being the captain of Inter. Mm-hmm. So if anything, they're going to hand him more money in this new contract. Right now, he's making 4.5 million euros. That's after tax. Here's the thing. Everyone's always like, oh, that's not that much money. And yeah, I get it. Sometimes people get confused. In Italy, they report money after tax. So you just take that number and you double it. And that's his annual salary.
Gross.
Exactly. So they'll throw him an extra, like, I don't know, maybe 10 million euro.
But he's making more than just 4.5 because along with his contract, he signed bonuses like you have to make X amount of appearances. You have to score X amount of goals,
incentives.
Yep.
He's got
all
marketing
that stuff.
deals and all. Yeah.
And I'm sure that I bet you they will give him what he wants because I think that Inter fans really do want Icardi around. I think that the problem is Wanda, and I don't think Inter fans like Wanda because she talks more.
I don't think they like Mauro either. They have a huge problem. They've always had a huge problem with Mauro, and if it wasn't for him being a very good player, arguably the best striker in Serie A over the last few years, I think they would hate his guts. I think it would have been out the door. But he's just so good and so crucial to the team. He means a lot. That obviously they see that it would be a huge loss to not have him. But it wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't surprise me if they wanted him out very soon because they have a player like Lautaro who's younger.
Mm-hmm.
And they've already seen the potential that he has, and he could be a better player than Icardi because he's just that much better and more creative than Icardi is outside of the box.
I guess we'll see. We'll see how many more games Inter can go without Icardi and keep winning. Because if that happens, then we'll see if Icardi even gets this new contract. And I just want to say that gap between Inter and Milan is shrinking because Milan's like bulldozing everyone right now, and it's awesome. They're climbing the standings. I bet that they'll get third place. I think so too. And I said this while we were in Argentina. You did.
That AC Milan will finish the second half of the season with the second most amount of points. In the second half, games played,
not in second place,
not the total season, just the last 19 games. The last 19 games played, they'll have the second most points by the end of the season. That's my prediction. And I think we will finish in third.
So what are Inter's chances of maintaining a top 4 spot with this current situation?
I feel like
does it impact their chances of maintaining a top 4 spot?
They're playing okay. It's been only what 2 games now without Icardi.
Yeah, one in the Europa League.
Paris has been like standing out a lot lately, though. They're making fewer mistakes.
Yeah, he wasn't having a good season at the first part, but
I don't know. When it comes down to crunch time, I feel like Inter's really going to need Icardi. I think they're going to need him against Milan. They're going to need him against AS Roma. They're going to need him against all the big teams, Juventus, Napoli, because they need the points. It's going to come down to games against Milan. It's going to come down to games against to Roma and Lazio, Napoli, Juventus, all these big teams. They have to come away with points in order to secure that position. And it's the same thing for Roma and Milan and Lazio, who are trying to push for that top 4 spot still, because the gap is very small. You know, it's going to
go down to the wire. It's going to go down to the wire, I think, for that last Champions League spot.
I think Milan's going to be in there.
Yep.
I'm being biased.
Milan's definitely going to be in there.
I hope so.
I think Inter will finish 4th. I think that they will finish 4th.
How great would it be if Milan finished 3rd and Roma 4th?
Then they would have to sell
Atalanta
Icardi
4th. I'd be even happier with that.
They would have to sell Icardi to Real Madrid or something like that, because they are under financial fair play regulations.
Things are getting better
now
for them, though.
Mm-hmm.
They're starting to get out of it.
They need that money.
So you bring up an interesting point, though, and we didn't really touch. There were a couple of club names that went out. If they were to sell him, where would he go? Where would he go? What's the
Real
best fit?
Madrid?
Just those 2?
Juventus.
Juventus. As they were just mentioned in the conversation, I don't think that he
Barcelona.
would go there. He could go back to Barca. I think the biggest one, though, is Real Madrid.
That'd be a perfect fit for
I think
him.
even Bayern Munich too would be a good spot for him.
True, if they had the money, yeah, which they probably do. So,
oh yeah, they definitely have the money.
Barcelona is such a hateable team. I feel like that's a perfect spot for him to go.
It was a striker, Luis Suarez. Oh, yep, that'd be a good spot for him.
Yeah, but I feel like out of all those clubs, it would be Real Madrid would be the most likely.
And I think Chelsea number 2. I agree. I think Chelsea would be right after that.
Mm-hmm.
There's talks of maybe Icardi going to Real Madrid or Chelsea, and now the recent talks about Bale maybe going back, being moved to Chelsea, and then obviously we had talked about stuff with Hazard,
even Milan too.
You guys
read about that?
Yeah, I did. Read about that.
I don't think there's any truth to it, but I guess there's some interest in Milan getting Bale.
Yeah, no, there is there's some rumors flying through there, but you know what I did read is that Chelsea actually has a transfer ban as of right now. They can't purchase any players, and they're filing a complaint with UEFA and FIFA. I forget exactly the reason why. It had something to do with younger player registrations. They didn't register like 29 youth players or something like that. So it's something stupid. I think it's going to get overturned, but it involved Higuain not potentially staying at Chelsea and coming back to Juventus. So that obviously affected my club. So that's how I heard about it. I don't think if this stands, Icardi won't go to Chelsea, just based on that.
Well, if Sadi's
that was a long-winded explanation.
If Sadi's still the coach at the end of the season, he's going to buy Higuain.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely. But sorry, that was a long-winded explanation. But
no, that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
You boys have anything else to add?
That's it.
So that's it for me. Like I said, I'm not familiar with
you're
this
in the dark on this one
whatsoever.
Take us out, Dylan.
Yeah, that's it. All right. Yeah, everyone, as always, if you guys want to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, our Instagram is at Red Card Report, and Facebook as well. Facebook is at Red Card Report, and our Twitter is at RCR_podcast. Again, Twitter is at RCR_podcast, and Instagram and Facebook are both at Red Card Report.
Give a follow, give a like.
Yep, and
say hi.
Guys, don't forget, if you like the show, hop over to iTunes, Spotify, CastBox, Stitcher, hit the subscribe button, leave us a comment.
Let us know how we're doing, and we'll like to we'd like to know your feedback.
Yeah, we'd
Yeah.
love to hear from you guys.
Love to hear from you guys. All right, that's it.
Thanks for listening.